Have you ever wondered what it takes for someone to be labeled the most wicked man in the world? Maybe you picture a ruthless tyrant or a cunning criminal mastermind. But what if that title was given to someone who didn't lead armies or govern nations, but instead delved into the hidden realms of magic, mysticism, and human rebellion? Aleister Crowley, also known as the Beast 666, was that man. Loved by some, reviled by many, his name evokes intrigue and controversy even decades after his death. But what lies beneath the sensational headlines? Was Crowley a misunderstood genius, a reckless provocateur, or a man who dared to unravel the deepest mysteries of existence? Today we embark on a journey to uncover the truth about Aleister Crowley, his life, his secrets, and the legacy that continues to haunt the world. Crowley was born Edward Alexander Crowley on October 12, 1875, in Warwickshire, England. His family was devoutly Christian, members of a strict sect known as the Plymouth Brethren. His father, a successful brewer-turned-preacher, imposed a rigorous daily routine of Bible reading. Imagine a childhood filled with verses and hymns, where even a stray thought was considered a sin. But tragedy struck early. Crowley's father died of cancer when Aleister was just 11, leaving the boy adrift in a sea of religious dogma he no longer wanted to navigate. This was the moment the seeds of rebellion were sown. He began challenging the moral codes of his upbringing, smoking, experimenting sexually, and openly mocking the religious principles his family held dear. His mother, exasperated by his defiance, dubbed him the Beast, a name he would later embrace with pride. At Cambridge University, Crowley's interests broadened. He excelled at chess, wrote provocative poetry, and climbed mountains with an almost spiritual fervor. But beneath his scholarly facade lay a growing fascination with the occult. It was here that he would begin to question not only the doctrines of Christianity, but the very nature of existence itself. What secrets, he wondered, lay beyond the veil of ordinary perception? Crowley's official journey into mysticism began in 1898 when he joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a secretive organization dedicated to the study of alchemy, astrology, and ceremonial magic. Under the alias Frater Perdurabo, meaning "I will endure to the end," Crowley quickly rose through the ranks. However, his unorthodox methods and penchant for controversy made him many enemies within the order. One of the most infamous episodes involved a physical and magical confrontation with poet W.B. Yeats and other members of the London chapter. Crowley, dressed in theatrical robes and wielding a ceremonial dagger, attempted to seize control of the temple. His efforts failed, but the incident marked him as a disruptive force, a man who would rather build his own empire than conform to another's rules. And build he did. After leaving the Golden Dawn, Crowley founded the Astrum Argentum and later became a leader in the Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO. But his most enduring legacy came in 1904, during a fateful trip to Egypt. There, Crowley claimed to have received a supernatural communication from a being named Iwas, who dictated the Book of the Law. This text became the foundation of Thelema, a philosophy proclaiming, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Crowley's life was a whirlwind of exploration, both physical and metaphysical. He traveled extensively, from the temples of India to the mountains of the Himalayas, absorbing spiritual traditions and testing the limits of his body and mind. In Mexico, he engaged in shamanic rituals. In India, he immersed himself in yoga and meditation. And in Egypt, he conducted the ritual that birthed the Book of the Law. But Crowley's pursuits were not without scandal. His open bisexuality, at a time when homosexuality was illegal in Britain, shocked the public. His experiments with drugs, heroin, cocaine, and more were both spiritual tools and personal demons. Media outlets labeled him a Satanist, accusing him of black magic and human sacrifice. Was there truth to these claims, or were they the fabrications of a society unwilling to understand a man who defied its norms? One infamous episode took place at his Abbey of Thelema in Sicily. Established as a spiritual retreat, the abbey became notorious for its hedonistic rituals, which included drug use and sexual rites. When a follower died under mysterious circumstances, Italian authorities expelled Crowley, cementing his reputation as a dangerous and subversive figure. Despite, or perhaps because of, his controversies, Crowley was a prolific writer and artist. His works range from poetry and novels to deeply esoteric texts. The Thoth Tarot, co-created with artist Lady Frida Harris, remains one of the most celebrated tarot decks to this day. Crowley's writings on magic and mysticism were groundbreaking, blending Eastern and Western traditions into a unique system that continues to influence modern occult practices. He described magic as the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will, a definition that placed the practitioner's intent at the heart of the craft. For all his brilliance, Crowley paid a steep price for his lifestyle. His relationships were turbulent, marred by infidelity and addiction. His first wife, Rose Kelly, descended into alcoholism, and their children suffered from neglect. Financially, Crowley squandered his inheritance on extravagant projects and lived his later years in poverty. By the time of his death in 1947, Crowley was a shadow of his former self, an ailing man dependent on the charity of friends. Yet, even in death, he refused to conform. His funeral, attended by a handful of devotees, was dubbed the Black Mass by the press. Crowley's influence extends far beyond the occult community. He inspired musicians like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and David Bowie, and his philosophy of self-liberation resonates with countercultural movements to this day. In literature, his presence is felt in works ranging from James Bond to comic books. So, who was Aleister Crowley? Was he a prophet or a provocateur, a visionary or a villain? Perhaps he was all these things and more, a man unafraid to explore the boundaries of human potential, no matter the cost. In recent years, Aleister Crowley's life has been re-examined through documentaries such as The Wickedest Man in the World and Aleister Crowley, Legend of the Beast. These works delve into his philosophies, particularly the question, was he truly devoted to the dark arts, or was he simply misunderstood? Modern historians propose that much of Crowley's notoriety was fueled by sensationalist media rather than verified accounts. For instance, his controversial sacrifices were likely metaphorical references in his texts, misunderstood by those unfamiliar with occult terminology. Similarly, his use of drugs for ritual purposes might align with shamanic practices seen in indigenous cultures worldwide, where altered states of consciousness were revered as tools for spiritual awakening. A lesser-known discovery connects Crowley's work to ancient Egyptian texts. Scholars analyzing the Book of the Law have identified linguistic patterns and themes that echo passages from the pyramid texts. Could Crowley have tapped into a collective spiritual consciousness tied to the ancient world? Or was his contact with Aiwass a deeply personal psychological phenomenon masked in mysticism? Crowley's esoteric pursuits were not born in isolation. His studies drew heavily on lost knowledge from ancient civilizations. During his travels to India and Egypt, he encountered sacred texts that referenced Hermetic principles and alchemical practices. One particularly intriguing connection is Crowley's fascination with the Corpus Hermeticum, a collection of philosophical texts attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. These works, rediscovered during the Renaissance, laid the groundwork for Western esotericism. Crowley's interpretation of magic as will mirrors concepts from these ancient teachings, suggesting a lineage of ideas passed down over centuries. Interestingly, Crowley believed that humanity had entered the Aeon of Horus, a new era of spiritual evolution. He saw this as a time of self-discovery and personal empowerment, aligning with the principles of Egyptian mythology, where Horus symbolizes divine kingship and renewal. Could Crowley's prediction of this transformative age have parallels in the modern world, with movements emphasizing individuality and breaking traditional norms? What if Crowley's philosophy of Thelema wasn't just spiritual, but also a visionary framework for future civilizations? The central idea, do what thou wilt, emphasizes discovering one's true purpose and aligning with that, a universal law. Imagine a society where individuals are educated from an early age to find and pursue their true calling. This principle could inspire innovation in sustainable living, governance, and technology. For example, decentralized communities powered by renewable energy might draw inspiration from Crowley's ideals of autonomy and harmony with natural forces. Moreover, his rituals, blending symbolism, art, and spirituality, could serve as prototypes for therapeutic practices in advanced societies. Virtual reality, for instance, could recreate ceremonial environments where participants explore consciousness in safe, controlled settings. Could Thelema's principles one day guide the development of immersive technologies aimed at unlocking human potential? Crowley's life and teachings reveal striking parallels with legends from other cultures. His magical will resembles the concept of dharma in Hinduism, where individuals fulfill their divine duty. Similarly, his writings about astral projection echo shamanic traditions in Siberia and South America, where practitioners travel between realms to seek knowledge. In Japan, Crowley studied Zen Buddhism and integrated its emphasis on mindfulness into his practices. He believed that the Zen concept of no mind could be harmonized with Western ceremonial magic, bridging the gap between East and West. What if these parallels suggest a universal quest for transcendence across cultures? Could Crowley's works be seen as a synthesis of global spiritual traditions rather than a uniquely Western phenomenon? Aleister Crowley's influence stretches far beyond the occult. His image appears on the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, nestled among other cultural icons. Led Zeppelin's guitarist Jimmy Page was so enthralled by Crowley's work that he purchased Boleskine House, Crowley's infamous estate on Loch Ness. In recent years, Crowley has inspired characters in TV shows like Supernatural and American Horror Story, Video games such as Assassin's Creed and The Binding of Isaac weave his themes of forbidden knowledge and spiritual rebellion into their narratives. But why does Crowley resonate with contemporary creators? Perhaps it's his audacity to challenge societal norms and explore the unknown, traits that continue to captivate rebellious spirits today. His philosophy of self-empowerment, though controversial, aligns with the ethos of modern individualism. As we've uncovered, Aleister Crowley's life is a tapestry of contradictions and enigmas. But now, the question turns to you. How do you interpret his legacy? Was he a pioneer of spiritual liberation, or did his ego overshadow his insights? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Was Crowley a misunderstood genius or a master manipulator? And if you found this journey into Crowley's world fascinating, consider sharing the video with friends who love diving into the mysteries of history. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations into the unknown. You might be wondering, were the darker rumors about Crowley true? While accusations of human sacrifice and Satanism make for gripping headlines, they're largely unsupported by evidence. Most of these tales stem from misunderstandings of Crowley's symbolic language and the sensationalism of early 20th century media. Another common question is, did Crowley invent modern occultism? Not exactly. While he played a pivotal role in popularizing esoteric practices, he stood on the shoulders of giants, drawing heavily from ancient traditions. His genius lay in synthesizing these ideas into a cohesive, modern framework. As we leave behind the life of Aleister Crowley, one thing becomes clear. He was as much a product of his time as he was a disruptor of it. His legacy invites us to question the boundaries of belief, the nature of the self, and the courage it takes to defy convention. So the next time you hear his name, remember, Crowley was not just a man, but a mirror reflecting the hopes, fears, and contradictions of humanity itself. And now, I leave the question to you. How should we remember Aleister Crowley? As a cautionary tale, or as a guidepost for those who dare to seek their own truths? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this journey into the life of Aleister Crowley, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. And as always, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep seeking the unknown.